Have you ever felt helpless, as if a small act of kindness might lead to your downfall? Imagine the scene. Carla, the manager of a small gas station, decides to pay for an elderly woman's gas, a gesture that could have been just a good deed. However, what seems like an act of generosity ends up leading to a harsh consequence: her unexpected dismissal. But what happens next is something you won't want to miss. Hours later, an unexpected visitor knocks on Carla's door, bringing with them a twist that could transform her life in a surprising way. Get ready for a story of pain, overcoming, and a conclusion that promises to touch your heart and reveal that, even in the most difficult situations, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now so you won't miss any of our moving stories. Don't forget to follow along with what we've prepared for you. It was a hot summer afternoon when Donna Eulalia, a lady with gray hair and a slow gait, entered the gas station. She drove an old car that seemed to have as many stories as the wrinkles on her face. Her eyes, already tired from time, were filled with worry as she rummaged through her small purse, trying to gather the money to pay for the fuel. Donna Eulalia, despite her advanced age, had always been an independent woman. But recently things had become more difficult. The bills seemed to pile up, and even with all her willpower, her retirement barely covered the basic expenses. That day she just needed a little gas to make it to the doctor, but when she opened her wallet, she realized she didn't have enough. Carla, the gas station manager, watched the scene from a distance. She was a young woman in her early 30s, known for being fair and compassionate. Carla had a good heart and couldn't just ignore the evident despair in Donna Eulalia's eyes. While other customers hurried by, concerned with their own lives, Carla felt a pang in her chest. That elderly lady needed help, and Carla knew she had to do something. Carla approached slowly, with a gentle smile on her lips. "Good afternoon, ma'am," she said, trying not to startle Donna Eulalia. "Is everything all right? You seem to be having a bit of difficulty." Donna Eulalia raised her eyes, embarrassed, and shook her head. "Ah, my dear, I have a problem. I don't have enough money for the gas. I thought I did, but I must have made a mistake." Carla felt a tug at her heart. She knew she wasn't supposed to interfere with customers' finances, but Donna Eulalia's situation was different. Without thinking twice, she reached into her pocket and pulled out her own wallet. "Don't worry about it, Donna Eulalia," she said firmly. "I'll cover the cost of the gas for you." The elderly woman was surprised, her eyes filling with tears of gratitude. "But my dear, I can't accept this. You're so young, you must have your own bills to pay." Carla just smiled. "Sometimes we all need a little help, don't we? Think of it as a gift from a friend." With a choked voice, Donna Eulalia accepted the gesture. She knew that this kindness wasn't common, and her heart was warmed by the care of a stranger. Carla went to the cashier, paid for the gas, and returned with the receipt. "There you go, Donna Eulalia. Now you can go on and take care of what you need." As Donna Eulalia left the gas station, she felt a new hope in her heart. It wasn't just about the gas, but about the fact that there were still good people in the world, willing to help without expecting anything in return. Carla, in turn, watched the elderly woman leave with a sense of fulfillment. She didn't know that this simple act of kindness would change her life forever. The reprimand. It was a gray and rainy morning when Carla entered the gas station for another day of work. The sky seemed to reflect the tension that had been hanging over her since the incident the day before. The memory was still fresh in her mind. The help she had offered to an elderly woman in distress, without a second thought. The gas station was a busy place, with customers coming and going, and the sound of engines and fuel pumps creating a constant background noise. Carla was busy cleaning some stains on the floor when her boss, Mr. Almeida, called her into his office. Carla's heart raced, a sense that something was wrong. With hesitant steps, Carla entered the office. Mr. Almeida was sitting behind a dark wooden desk, with a serious look that immediately sent a chill down her spine. He gestured for her to sit, and Carla obeyed, feeling the weight of anxiety on her shoulders. "Carla," Mr. Almeida began in a grave tone, "do you know why you're here?" Carla tried to keep her composure, but she couldn't hide the worry on her face. "I think so, sir." Mr. Almeida crossed his arms and looked at her intently. "I've received several complaints about you. I've been informed that you helped an elderly lady yesterday without proper authorization. You know that's not allowed here, don't you? Carla felt a knot in her stomach. She knew the situation wouldn't be easy, but she didn't expect the words to be so harsh. I just wanted to help, sir. She was in trouble and needed assistance. I didn't think it would be a problem. Mr. Almeida sighed and ran his hand through his gray hair. Carla, I understand that you have good intentions, but the rules are clear. We can't simply deviate from protocol, even if it's for a good cause. With each word from Mr. Almeida, Carla felt her heart sink a little more. She knew that the job at the gas station was important to her, not just for the income but also for the sense of purpose it gave her. She tried to find words to defend her action, but the tension in the office seemed to suffocate any attempt at argument. Mr. Almeida continued, without leaving room for discussion. I'm sorry, but your decision to help the elderly lady without authorization was a violation of our policies. Unfortunately, there's no other option. We're terminating your employment as of today. Carla was paralyzed, as if she had been struck by a sudden blow. Sadness and disappointment took over her, and a wave of tears threatened to escape her eyes. She thought about everything she had invested in that position, how hard she had worked to do a good job, and how it all seemed to crumble so unexpectedly. I understand, Carla said, her voice choked, but I would like to know if there's anything else I can do to correct the situation, or at least understand what I can learn from this. Mr. Almeida, visibly uncomfortable, looked at her with a slightly softer expression. Carla, the best thing you can do is move forward and learn from this experience. It's a difficult lesson, but we all face challenges in our lives. Carla stood up from the chair, trying to maintain her dignity despite the pain. She knew she needed to face reality and move on. With one last glance at the office that had been her workplace, she headed for the exit, leaving behind a difficult chapter of her life. As Carla left, the sky continued to weep, as if reflecting the sadness of a day that had become a turning point for her. She didn't know what the future held, but one thing was certain. She was determined to face any challenge that lay ahead with the same determination she had shown when helping the elderly woman, even though it had cost her job. And so, with a heavy heart but the hope that better days would come, Carla took the first steps toward the next chapter of her life, carrying with her the lesson that kindness, even if not always rewarded as expected, is a quality one should never abandon. Carla's discouragement. After a morning that seemed endless, Carla finally returned home. The sky was still gray and threatening, as if the entire universe was sympathetic to her sadness. She drove slowly. The car seemed heavier than usual, and the light rain that fell only amplified the gloomy atmosphere that had taken over her heart. Upon arriving home, Carla parked the car in the garage and sat in the driver's seat for a moment. The feeling of defeat was overwhelming, and she allowed herself a moment to take a deep breath before facing what was to come. With heavy steps, Carla entered the house. The space that once felt like a welcoming refuge now seemed empty and desolate. The walls, which used to be a source of comfort, now appeared as a cruel reflection of her situation. Carla hung her coat on the rack and headed to the living room, where she collapsed onto the sofa, exhausted. She stared at the ceiling, trying to find an explanation for what had just happened. The incident with the elderly woman seemed so small now, so insignificant in the face of the storm that had hit her life. She clearly remembered the look of gratitude on the woman's face, the relief when Carla helped her. How could an act of kindness have resulted in her dismissal? Tears began to roll silently down Carla's face. She didn't want anyone to see her like this, but she couldn't control the pain. Her thoughts swirled like a storm. She had done everything right. She had helped someone in need, a gesture that seemed so natural and right. And yet, it was that very gesture that had brought her to the lowest point of her professional life. As she sank further into the sofa, Carla thought about all the people who had relied on her help, all the time she had gone out of her way to do good without ever expecting anything in return. The idea that something as simple as a good deed could have such severe consequences was hard to accept. The injustice of the world felt especially cruel in that moment. The kitchen, still tidy from the morning, now seemed like a distant place. The smell of breakfast, which used to be comforting, was now just a reminder of the normalcy Carla had lost. She slowly stood up and walked to the window, watching the rain fall steadily. The world outside was so calm, so indifferent to her agony. Suddenly, a thought crossed her mind. Perhaps this was a moment of learning. It wasn't the lesson she had expected, but maybe she could find a way to turn this pain into something positive. She recalled stories she had heard about people who had faced adversity and come out stronger on the other side. Carla began to wonder if this could be one of those moments in her life. With a deep sigh, she decided she wouldn't give in to discouragement. Instead, she would focus on finding a new path. Life had tested her in an unexpected way, but perhaps it was an opportunity to explore new possibilities and grow from this difficult experience. As night fell and the rain began to ease, Carla rose from the sofa and started making a list of things she wanted to achieve. It was a way to reconnect with her hopes and dreams. Each item on the list represented a step toward a better future, a way to reclaim the hope that had been lost amid the discouragement. Despite the sadness she still felt, Carla knew she needed to find a new purpose. Life went on, and she was determined to face the challenges with courage. The night was still young, and with renewed determination, Carla was ready to start again and face tomorrow with a stronger spirit. An unexpected visitor. Night had fallen, bringing with it a deep silence and a temporary relief from the emotional turmoil Carla was facing. She was in the kitchen preparing a hot tea to calm her nerves, when the sound of the intercom made her freeze. It was an unexpected noise that pierced the silence of the house and made her heart race. The sound of the intercom was followed by a firm knock on the front door. Carla hesitated for a moment, fear and curiosity mixing. Who could it be at this hour? She wasn't expecting any visitors, and the thought of someone showing up at her door in the midst of that emotional storm made her uneasy. With a deep sigh and her thoughts racing, Carla walked to the door. Every step seemed to echo in her head, amplifying the anxiety she felt. She looked through the small window in the door and saw a well-dressed man, wearing a dark, well-fitted suit and an impeccable tie. His hair was neatly combed, and he wore a cordial smile, but the mystery in his eyes made Carla even more curious. She adjusted the robe she was wearing, ran a hand through her hair, and taking a deep breath, opened the door. The man introduced himself with a smooth voice full of confidence. "Good evening, you must be Carla. My name is Raphael, and I'm here at the invitation of someone closely connected to your recent situation." Carla looked at him a bit confused. "An invitation? Who is this person?" Raphael gestured for her to invite him in, which Carla did with a hesitant gesture. He entered with natural elegance, his leather shoes gleaming in the soft light of the room. Raphael glanced around, appreciating the simple yet cozy decor of the house. "As I mentioned, I'm here at the request of someone who has been very concerned about you. However, I need you to listen carefully because what I'm going to share might be a bit unexpected." Carla guided him to the living room and offered him a seat on the couch before sitting down on a nearby chair. She was intrigued and slightly apprehensive. Raphael began speaking with a calmness that was almost soothing. "Yesterday, when you helped the elderly woman, it caught the attention of someone important to me, and this person was deeply moved by your act of kindness. He believes you have a generous heart and wanted to offer you an opportunity that may change your perspective." Carla furrowed her brow, struggling to understand. "What does that mean? What opportunity are you talking about?" Raphael took a small envelope from his briefcase and handed it to Carla. "Inside this envelope is a letter and some instructions. I recommend you read the letter first." With slightly trembling hands, Carla opened the envelope and pulled out an elegant letter, written in formal and flowing handwriting. The message was direct and touching. "Dear Carla, your act of kindness did not go unnoticed. In a world where empathy is often forgotten, your action stood out as a shining example of humanity. I would like to offer you the chance to participate in a special project aimed at helping people in situations similar to the one you encountered yesterday. This project could not only provide a new direction in your life, but also offer a platform for you to make a difference. I hope you accept this opportunity with the same generous spirit you demonstrated yesterday. With appreciation, Mr. Lucas Pereira." Carla read the letter twice, trying to process the meaning of the words. Mr. Lucas Pereira, someone she had never met, was offering her a chance for a new beginning, a path to channel her compassion into something meaningful. The idea was both surprising and exciting. "What exactly is this project?" Carla asked, still processing the proposal. Raphael smiled, visibly pleased with her reaction. "The project is a support program for underprivileged communities, helping to create and implement initiatives that promote solidarity and well-being. Mr. Pereira believes your experience and empathy would be valuable for this cause. Carla felt a surge of emotion upon hearing this. The discouragement she had felt earlier was beginning to give way to a sense of hope. Maybe after all there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I accept. I'd really like to learn more and see how I can contribute, Carla replied with a renewed sparkle in her eyes. Raphael nodded in satisfaction and began explaining the next steps. As he spoke, Carla felt a new energy rising within her. The opportunity that had emerged from despair was a chance to turn adversity into something positive, and it gave her a reason to believe again. When Raphael said goodbye and left, Carla was left alone in the room, the letter in her hands, and a growing sense of determination in her heart. Raphael's unexpected visit had not only brought a new perspective to her life, but had also rekindled the hope and motivation she needed to move forward. With a new purpose in mind, Carla was ready to face the future and make a difference in the world, starting with her own journey of transformation. The revelation. After Raphael's unexpected visit, Carla felt a mix of curiosity and hope. The letter she had just read offered a unique opportunity, but many questions remained unanswered. However, before she could fully digest the new information, the sound of the doorbell interrupted her thoughts. She headed toward the door, already sensing that something important was about to happen. With a touch of apprehension, she opened the door and, to her surprise, found a tall, elegant man standing before her. He wore a dark suit that perfectly matched the rainy night backdrop, and he had an expression of warmth and determination. "Good evening, Carla," the man said with a gentle smile. "I am Ricardo, Dona Eulalia's grandson. I'm here on behalf of my grandmother." Carla felt a slight shock upon hearing Dona Eulalia's name. The elderly woman she had helped the previous day was now directly linked to Ricardo's visit. She invited him in, and they sat in the living room, where the soft light of the lamps created a cozy atmosphere. Ricardo began to speak, his voice filled with emotion and respect. "My grandmother, Dona Eulalia, was deeply touched by your generosity. She told me all about your gesture, and how you helped her so selflessly. To her, it meant more than you could ever imagine." Carla felt warmth in her heart as she heard these words. She clearly remembered Dona Eulalia's grateful look, but had never imagined that her action could have such a significant impact. "I didn't know my help would have this kind of effect. I just wanted to do what I thought was right," Carla said with a shy smile. Ricardo nodded, his serious expression now softened by admiration. "My grandmother is a very special woman with a huge heart. When she spoke about you, her words were filled with gratitude and respect. She insisted that I meet you and personally express her thanks." Carla felt a growing emotion. It was surprising and comforting to know that her action had been so meaningful. Ricardo continued, his expression sincere. "Dona Eulalia asked me to offer you something she believes you deserve. She would like to help you find a new path. And to that end, she has prepared something special." Ricardo pulled a similar envelope from his briefcase, but with an important detail. The seal bearing the initials EN are embossed in red wax. He handed the envelope to Carla with a respectful gesture. "This is a gift from my grandmother. She wants you to open it and discover what she has prepared for you. She believes that just as you helped the lady, now you deserve a new opportunity to shine." Carla accepted the envelope with trembling hands. Dona Eulalia's gesture was more than just a simple gift. It was an expression of gratitude and a recognition of her kindness. With a deep breath, Carla tore open the envelope and pulled out a handwritten letter with elegant, flowing script. The letter began with warm and moving words. "Dear Carla, I hope this letter finds you well. Your recent actions deeply touched my heart. The kindness you showed in helping me was a ray of light on a day that needed a bit of hope. In recognition of your generosity, I would like to offer you special assistance. Inside this envelope is a check to support any project or dream you may have. Additionally, I am including a letter of recommendation for a personal development course that may help you achieve your goals and enhance your skills. I hope this can be a small reflection of the gratitude I feel for you. I believe that we all have the power to do good, and you have shown that you possess this power in abundance. With affection and admiration, Dona Eulalia." Carla read and reread the letter, tears beginning to shimmer in her eyes. Dona Eulalia's generosity was something that went beyond words, and the offer of support was a gift that Carla knew would change her life. She looked at Ricardo, her voice choked with emotion. Please tell Dona Eulalia that I am deeply grateful, not only for this gift, but for reminding me of the power of doing good. I will use this to make a difference, just as she and you have made in my life. Ricardo smiled, visibly moved by Carla's reaction. I am sure my grandmother will be very happy to hear that. She believes in you, Carla. And so do I. With a feeling of renewed hope and gratitude, Carla bid farewell to Ricardo. When he left, the night seemed a little brighter, and the future, a promise of new opportunities. The visit from Ricardo and the revelation from Dona Eulalia had turned a moment of discouragement into a turning point, giving Carla the strength and motivation to move forward with a heart full of hope. The surprising offer. Twilight began to give way to night as Carla watched Ricardo walk down the street, her heart still racing with the recent revelation. She felt a wave of gratitude and hope flowing within her, while at the same time she was eager to fully understand the new direction her life was about to take. Shortly after Ricardo left, the doorbell rang again. Carla, still immersed in her thoughts and with Dona Eulalia's letter in hand, went to the door and opened it cautiously. To her surprise, Ricardo was back, this time without the briefcase but with a special glow in his eyes. Carla, sorry for the new interruption. I realized you might be a little confused about my grandmother's offer, and I wanted to talk to you about something that may be very important, Ricardo said, with a tone of urgency and warmth. Carla gestured for him to come in, her mind racing to understand what could be so urgent. They sat down again in the living room, and Ricardo seemed to be carefully gathering his words. When my grandmother told me about your kindness, she spoke about how your act of help was a reflection of who you truly are. And that made me think. Ricardo began, his voice filled with emotion and sincerity. Carla watched attentively, her eyes blinking with a mixture of curiosity and expectation. I work at a company that is always looking for people with values like yours. Someone who not only does the job, but also genuinely cares about others. And, thinking it through, my company could really benefit from someone with your heart and ethics. Carla's heart began to beat faster. What Ricardo was suggesting seemed too good to be true. What exactly are you saying? Carla asked, trying to stay calm and clear. Ricardo took a deep breath and continued, with a firm and determined look. I would like to offer you a position at our company. It would be a fresh start for you, with a salary much higher than what you received at the gas station. We believe that you have the potential to grow and stand out in an environment where your qualities will be valued and encouraged. Carla was speechless. The shock and surprise hit her hard. The idea of leaving behind a job that, although not the most gratifying, was familiar, to embark on a new opportunity with a better salary and a more prestigious position seemed like a dream she had never imagined achieving. This is unbelievable, Carla finally managed to say, her voice filled with emotion. But why are you doing this for me? I hardly know you or your grandmother, and honestly I'm still trying to process everything that's happened. Ricardo smiled, a smile full of understanding. Sometimes, life presents us with unexpected opportunities, and people who cross our paths to remind us of the kindness and importance of helping each other. The action you took with my grandmother was a perfect example of this. She and I believe it's time for you to have a chance to shine and make a difference in a new environment. Ricardo's invitation seemed like a beacon of hope amid the emotional turmoil Carla had experienced after her unexpected dismissal. His words were like a balm to the pain and discouragement she had felt. I accept, Carla finally said, her voice full of gratitude and determination. I accept the offer. I will do my best to meet your expectations and return the trust you have placed in me. Ricardo smiled, visibly relieved and pleased with her response. Great! I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job. I'll arrange all the details so you can start as soon as possible. My grandmother will be very happy to know that her generosity had such a positive impact. They stood up, and Ricardo offered his hand for a firm and friendly handshake. Carla shook it firmly, feeling a wave of optimism and hope she hadn't felt in a long time. The future suddenly seemed full of possibilities and new opportunities. When Ricardo said goodbye and left, Carla was alone again, but now with new energy and a fresh perspective on what was to come. Ricardo's offer and Dona Eulalia's support had not only changed her financial situation, but had also rekindled her faith in kindness and the impact that an act of generosity can have on a person's life. With a renewed sense of purpose and excitement, Carla prepared to face this new phase of her life, eager to begin and ready to embrace the new opportunities awaiting her. A new journey. After accepting Ricardo's offer, Carla felt a mix of relief and excitement as she prepared for this new chapter in her life. The day to start the new job was quickly approaching, and she was filled with expectations and hopes. The old gas station where she had spent days of hard work and discouragement now seemed like a distant memory, overshadowed by the promise of a brighter future. Her first day at the new job was marked by a sense of nervousness and excitement. Carla wore a new outfit, a carefully chosen ensemble to reflect her desire to start off on the right foot. The route to the new company seemed different, more illuminated and full of promise. Every step she took felt guided by the hope that something grand was about to begin. Upon arriving at the company, Carla was greeted with a warm smile from one of her new colleagues. The atmosphere was different from any place she had worked before. The office walls were adorned with inspiring artwork and motivational quotes. The environment was modern, yet welcoming, and there was a palpable sense of camaraderie and respect among the staff. Ricardo, who had previously welcomed her, introduced her to her new team. There was a contagious energy in the air, and Carla was immediately struck by the enthusiasm and friendliness of everyone. Her new colleagues greeted her with firm handshakes and genuine smiles, showing a warm reception that made Carla feel immediately welcomed. During her first week, Carla was guided and trained for her new responsibilities. Unlike her previous job, where her actions were often misunderstood, in her new position, her kindness and dedication were valued and recognized. She found support and encouragement in every task, and her ideas were heard with respect. One of Carla's first tasks was to organize a fundraising event for a local charity. In her previous role, such events would have been seen as a mere nuisance. But here, the event was an opportunity to make a difference and contribute to a meaningful cause. Carla dove into the project with renewed energy and enthusiasm. She felt a deep sense of accomplishment as she saw the team unite for a common purpose and the positive impact they were making in the community. Carla's work was not limited to daily tasks. She found a true purpose in helping her colleagues and contributing to a work environment that valued collaboration and mutual support. At the end of each day, Carla returned home with a feeling of satisfaction and gratitude. The sense that her actions had a real and positive impact on the lives of those around her was deeply rewarding. Over time, Carla began to notice a significant change in her own perspective. She became more confident and inspired, knowing that her work was more than just a job. Kindness, which had previously seemed like a rare and vulnerable trait, was now seen as a powerful and appreciated strength. The company's culture promoted an environment where every gesture of empathy and solidarity was valued and encouraged. Carla's new journey not only brought her to a place where she felt appreciated, but also helped her rediscover her own inner strength and purpose. She became involved in new projects, met inspiring people, and found a balance between her passions and responsibilities. The work that once seemed like a simple obligation was now a source of joy and fulfillment. As Carla walked home at the end of a particularly rewarding day, she looked up at the starry sky and allowed herself to smile. The path she had traveled had taken her from a place of discouragement to a future full of hope and opportunities. The new journey she was living was not just about a better job, but about the chance to make a difference and find a true purpose. With a light heart and a renewed spirit, Carla was ready to face the challenges and embrace the new possibilities that life had to offer. And as the sun set, she knew she was exactly where she was meant to be, living a life full of meaning and joy. The gratitude meeting. Months had passed since Carla accepted Ricardo's offer and began her new professional journey. Over time, she adapted to her new work environment and thrived in a role that seemed almost magical to her. The company where she worked had become a second home, and Carla discovered that her kindness and dedication were appreciated and rewarded. The satisfaction of helping and making a difference in people's lives became a fundamental part of her daily routine. One day, while Carla was organizing documents and preparing reports, she received a call that left her emotional. It was from Ricardo, asking her to meet him at a local cafe. He had something special to show her. Carla prepared eagerly for the meeting, curious about what it could be. On the appointed day, Carla arrived at the cafe with a sense of anticipation. The place was charming and cozy, with outdoor tables and a tranquil atmosphere that seemed perfect for a special meeting. Carla spotted Ricardo at a table, and as she approached, she noticed he was accompanied by an elderly lady with a serene demeanor and a gentle smile. It was Dona Eulalia. The sight of Dona Eulalia made Carla's heart race. She fondly remembered her first interaction with the elderly lady and the profound impact it had on her life. Approaching the table, Carla felt a mix of gratitude and emotion. "Carla, it's a pleasure to see you again," exclaimed Dona Eulalia with a warm smile. "I was eager to meet you and thank you personally." Carla smiled, touched by the sincerity of her words. "The pleasure is all mine, Dona Eulalia. I'm so happy to see you, and it's wonderful to be here with you." Ricardo, observing the interaction with a satisfied look, said, "As you already know, Carla's generosity had an incredible impact on our lives. I wanted you to meet again so she could see how much your kindness has meant to us." Dona Eulalia nodded and with a look full of gratitude said, "The way you helped that afternoon was a true gift. But for me, the greater gift was seeing how your act of kindness turned into something so beautiful. Your courage and generosity not only changed my life but also brought a new opportunity for you. Sometimes unexpected consequences can lead to even greater blessings." Carla sat down, absorbing Dona Eulalia's words. She realized that amidst the challenges and discouragement she had faced, something deeper and more meaningful was happening. Tears began to form in her eyes as she looked at the woman who had influenced her life so positively. "I could never have imagined that something as simple as helping someone on the street could result in so many changes for me," Carla said, her voice choked with emotion. "I am deeply grateful to you, Dona Eulalia, and to Ricardo for giving me the opportunity to see the impact of this act." Dona Eulalia smiled, her eyes shining with shared emotion. "Sometimes it is in small acts of kindness that we find true purpose and happiness. You didn't just do what was right, but you also had the courage to carry on when things got tough. That is something worth celebrating." The meeting was a moment of deep connection and gratitude. Carla and Dona Eulalia talked about their lives, their hopes and dreams, and the impact that fate and kindness can have on people's lives. Ricardo, observing, felt a profound pride in seeing the transformation and joy resulting from that act of generosity. At the end of the meeting, Carla bid farewell to Dona Eulalia with a warm and sincere hug. "It was a pleasure to meet you again. Thank you for showing me that, even in the most challenging moments, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel." Dona Eulalia hugged her back with a serene smile. "And I am grateful to have met someone like you. Never underestimate the power of your actions, for they can create waves of change much greater than you imagine." As Carla and Ricardo left the cafe, Carla felt a deep inner peace and satisfaction. The meeting with Dona Eulalia reinforced her belief that, even in adversity, kindness can blossom and create wonderful changes. With a light heart and a renewed sense of purpose, Carla returned home, knowing that each challenge faced and each act of kindness performed were part of a much larger journey. She looked forward to continuing to live with an open and grateful heart, always willing to make a difference in the lives of those around her. The experience taught her that sometimes, the greatest blessings arise from the most unexpected moments, and that life is truly a journey of growth, transformation, and gratitude. Carla's journey shows us that kindness, even when it seems like a simple action, can trigger profound and unexpected changes in our lives. What began as a gesture of helping an elderly lady transformed into an opportunity for Carla to find new purpose and an environment where she feels truly valued. Sometimes fate presents us with challenges and twists that at first glance seem unfair or incomprehensible. However, these moments can be the beginning of an even richer and more rewarding journey, full of opportunities and discoveries. Carla's story is a powerful reminder that our acts of generosity and kindness are never in vain. They have the power to touch lives and create a wave of positive impact that can return to us in ways we never imagined. It is a celebration of human resilience and the ability to find light, even in the most difficult situations. If you felt touched by this story and want to continue following inspiring stories like Carla's, subscribe to our channel. Here we explore narratives that not only entertain but also offer valuable insights into life and human behavior. By subscribing and turning on notifications, You will stay updated with new videos and can follow more exciting stories that, like Carla's, show how small actions can lead to significant changes. Don't miss the chance to get involved in our community and be inspired by each new story. Together, let's explore the impact our actions can have and celebrate the wonderful surprises life has to offer. Subscribe now and be part of this journey of discovery and inspiration.